Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Carolina and today I'm going to teach you how to create the Matilde dress, which is a lovely baby doll dress, which is also so easy to make, so I would say it's totally beginner friendly as it doesn't even has any zipper. So I created this dress last winter because I wanted something to wear during warmer days, and I swear this dress is so comfortable, so of course this spring I had to make it with some lighter fabric so that I could wear it also during spring and summer. And I even made a blouse version of it using the same pattern, as I think it's such a versatile piece to have in your wardrobe, especially on those days when you're just looking for something cute but also comfortable to wear with your pair of jeans for like a more casual look. So as I said, you can turn the dress into a blouse, and by altering the pattern you can even create different versions of the dress. Like for example, for now I made other two versions, one with a frill skirt, so it has two frill instead of just one piece of fabric for the skirt part, and then I made another one with the shorter sleeves. So basically in the first part of the video I'm going to show you how to create, let's say, the standard version of the dress, which is the dress with the 3/4 sleeves and with the skirt made with just one piece of fabric, and then at the end I'm going to show you how to alter the pattern so that you can create the blouse and the other versions of the dress. Another thing I wanted to mention is that also all these other versions of the dress and the blouse are super easy to make, so if you're a beginner you can make them too, because the steps are basically the same, so nothing complicated at all. So first of all, to create the Matilde dress you first have to download a digital pattern from my shop, so I'm going to link that down below in the description. And then after you purchase the pattern you will receive a general information PDF file with just all the information that you need to have before starting your sewing project. So like you will find fabric recommendations, how much fabric you need, the sizing chart, and many more info. And then you will also receive an A4 and a US letter PDF file in case you want to print your pattern at home. Otherwise you will also find an A0, so if you prefer to go to your local print shop you can totally do it. And I also created a little tutorial for you on how to print and assemble the digital pattern, so I will link that down below as well in case you just want to check it out before printing yours. Okay, so I think we can start the tutorial now, and we're going to start by cutting all the pieces that we need to create the dress. For today's tutorial I'm using this cream cotton that I got a few weeks ago actually, and it has a floral pattern on it, and I'm going to just cut all the pieces of the pattern now, but I just want to show you how to cut the sleeves properly, because the sleeves piece has like a right and a left side, so I'm just going to show you in a minute what I'm talking about. So this is the sleeves piece, and as you can see I even added this little note on the piece of paper so you won't forget it when cutting it. And basically we want to cut this piece either on the fabric folded or by mirroring the paper pattern. So you will cut like a piece like this, and then you flip the paper and you cut the other piece. And I just found it more practical to me to do it by folding the fabric in half, which is what I'm going to do now, and then I will show you how to mark the notches. I also wanted to show you that by following the grain line indicator I'm positioning my piece on like the grain line of the fabric, which is this part. So I will now pin everything and cut it. So I have my pieces cutted, and as you can see we have a front indicator and a back indicator, which are the notches that we want to mark on the fabric. And I'm just going to make two little lines here and one for the back, so I know that the front has 2 lines and the back has 1 line. And another symbol that might be new to you are these little waves here and here, and they just indicate the start of the gathering part for the sleeves. So it means that we are going to start to gather here all along the curve, and then we are ending here. So I'm just going to mark my fabric here, and then I'm going to flip it and mark it on the other part, and then I'm going to do the same for the front and on the back. So now these notches will serve us to indicate us like the front and the back part of the sleeves, but also they will indicate us where to start gathering and where to finish. So at the end we will have 2 sleeves pieces that might look identical, but they are not, and so if we overlap the 2 pieces, these are both my inside part of the fabric, because the floral pattern is on the outside. We will have on the left you want to have a back and a front, and then on the right you want to have a front and a back. Okay, so I'm just now going on with the cutting part, and I just want to remind you that on the general info PDF you will also find a diagram showing you how to place the pieces on paper, so you will know exactly where to position them. In the meantime, Ola just decided to take a little nap on our sewing table, so Ola, you will have to move in a minute. Okay, we have now all our pieces cutted, and we have 2 pieces for the front bodice, 2 pieces for the back bodice, because the upper part of the dress will be double lined. Then we have 2 pieces for the sleeves and 2 big rectangles for the skirt of the dress. Okay, now we can finally move on to the sewing machine, and we are going to start by assembling the bodice part of the dress. So we are going to use these 4 pieces now. First of all, we want to take a back piece and a front piece, and we are going to pin them together at the shoulder junction. Okay, and you can easily identify the front from the back, because the back part is slightly bigger than the front one and also a little bit longer. And now we are going to repeat the same step also for the other 2 pieces. And if your fabric has a good and the bad side, you want to be sure that the good part are facing each other when doing this, so the wrong part of the fabric is facing you. And we then will be sewing all along this line and this line, and also we will do the same for the other 2 pieces of the front of the upper part. And we are now going to sew all along these lines. And now I'm just going to open the seams with the iron before joining the 2 parts together. Okay, now I overlapped the two pieces, making sure that the good parts are facing each other, and I'm going to pin everything on the neckline because this is where we are going to sew later. We can start sewing all along this line from start to finish. And now we are going to make a little cut at this point where the square neckline is created so that the fabric can spread better. In the end, I made additional small cuts along the edge of the neckline to help the fabric lay more smoothly. However, when making the same dress in muslin, for example, I found that a few diagonal cuts at the edge were enough, so it really depends on the kind of fabric you are working with. And we can also cut this excess of seam allowance so that the fabric will be less thick. We just want to understitch the lining part, so this is just to prevent the lining from rolling or showing on the right side when wearing the garment. And I'm going to start sewing just a little bit after the square of the neckline, like here is okay. And this is my lining part, and you want to be sure that all the seam allowance is placed on the part where the lining is, because we are going to sew them together. And then, as I came closer to the other square of the neckline, I want to start a little earlier, and then start again just a little bit after the square line. I'm going to cut off all the excess of thread. Okay, so now all the lining part of the neckline is understitched, and we are just going to iron it so everything will look nice and clean after. We want to join the side part of the bodice, and to do it we want to take one part of the back and put it on the front part, and we're going to pin them here and here, like so, and then we will do the same but with the two remaining parts. Now we're going to sew all along these pinned parts, so all the sides of the upper part of the bodice will be sewn together. So our bodice is basically done and we should have something that look like this, and what I like to do now is just an extra little step which is completely optional, but I like to do it because it really helps you when sewing later. So what I like to do is to sew together the lining part to the main fabric, both on the curve of the shoulder and on the bottom part of the bodice, which will be the part that will be then joined to the skirt of the dress. So we are now done even with this little extra step, which again I highly suggest you to do it, because as you can see now the lining and the main fabric stays they stay together nicely, and it will really helps you later when joining all the other parts of the pattern. So now we can move on to the sleeves. I'm going to show you all the steps that we need to do for the sleeves with just one piece, but then of course we will have to repeat each steps for the other piece of sleeve as well. So what we're going to do is to just place this part on top of the other part, and we want to be sure that the good side of the fabric, if your fabric has a good and a bad side, are facing each other when doing it. And we're going to pin all along this line, and then we're going to sew all along this line. just going to finish the raw edges here with my overlocker machine, but if you don't have one, don't worry, you can just use your zigzag stitches on your regular sewing machine. And now, using a knit needle, I'm just going to put the excess of thread inside the seams that we just created. So this is what it looks like now. Okay, we are now going to create the elastic tunnel for the lower part of the sleeves, and to know how much fabric you have to fold, because we are going to create a tunnel like this, you are going to take your elastic. I'm using an 8 millimeters, and like you can use from 8 millimeters up to even 2 centimeters. It's really up to you. It's just like an aesthetic decision to take. So we are going to take our elastic and we are going to fold the fabric on it, and then again by making sure that we still have a little space to sew the tunnel. So then I'm going to mark it. Okay, now after you will have folded the fabric, you will just have to measure how much fabric you need to fold. So in my case it's about 3.5 centimeters. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to fold all the lower part of the sleeves like this, and I'm going to iron it to keep the fabric in place. When we're going to sew the tunnel, we just want to start here and go all along the tunnel, and then we want to keep just a little gap unsewn. So we're going to start here and then stop here, because then we're going to use this little gap to insert the elastic. So you can see we have this little gap open. Okay, so we can now insert the elastic into the tunnel that we just created, and to know how long your elastic has to be, you just basically have to decide how tight you want your sleeves to be on your arms. I made a version of this dress where the sleeves are a little bit looser on my arms, but this time I want them to be more balloon-like, so my elastics are going to be a little bit shorter this time. And to know how long it needs to be, you just want to roll it around your arm like so, and when you feel comfortable with it, you can just cut it. So this is going to be the length of my elastic, that for reference is 22.5 centimeters, and I'm now going to insert the elastic into the tunnel. Okay, and I'm just going to insert the elastic into the tunnel now, and I'm going to use a safety pin like this one. So I put it on a side of the elastic, and on the other side I'm just putting a clip to prevent the elastic to go all inside the tunnel. So the clip will help me to keep the elastic outside the tunnel, like the end part of the elastic. And then when both the part of the elastic are outside the tunnel, I'm just going to pin them together. And then I'm going to sew it on my sewing machine, and I'm going to select the zigzag stitch to do it. And now I can return my stitch to a straight stitch, and I'm going to close the little gap that we left before. And now the lower part of the sleeve is ready, and we just need to gather the upper part, and we are going to do it by starting from the notches that we created earlier. So we are going to start here, and then we are going to stop here. And to gather our fabric, we just want to select the longest tension on our sewing machine, which for me is 9, and the longest length, which for me is 4. Now we want to pull enough thread, and this time we are not going to backstitch because we want the thread to be able to go through the fabric. And again, we are going to leave quite a lot of thread at the end as well. So this is what we have now, and as you can see, by pulling the thread, the fabric will start to curl even more. And now we are ready to connect the bodice part to the sleeves, and to do it you want to have the bodice part with the wrong side facing you, so this is my lining. And we want the sleeves to be on the right side instead. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert the sleeves inside the bodice part, and we are going to start joining them by the side of the bodice. So we're going to connect the side of the bodice to the side of the sleeve, and we're going to keep pinning them together. Okay, and now when I reached the part where the sleeves fabric start together, we're going to spread the sleeves evenly so that it can cover the shoulder length that we have left, and then we're going to keep pinning the fabrics together. So this is the front part of the bodice, and as you can see, I have the front indicator of the sleeves that matched correctly, so I can go on. And so I'm just going to pin also the other sleeves, and then I'm going to sew all along the curve of the shoulder. Okay, so I now connected also the other sleeve, and I'm now going to sew all along this line and this line. Here it is, and our dress is definitely starting to take shape, and we just need to finish the raw edges inside the shoulder, and then we can move on into the skirt. And now to create the skirt of the dress, we just want to take the two big rectangles that we have left from the pattern pieces that we cutted, and by making sure that the good sides are facing each other, we are going to pin them and sew them all along the shorter side on both sides, and the shorter side is like the height of the skirt, and then we are going to finish the raw edges for like both parts. Now we are going to gather all the upper part of the skirt, and I'm going to start from one rectangle, and then I will stop at the end of it and then start again at the beginning of the other rectangles, so that at the end I will end here. And to gather the fabric we are going to use the same setting as we used before for the sleeves. And now we want to join the skirt part to the upper bodice of the dress. Okay, so we want to have the skirt with the wrong side facing us, while the upper part of the bodice we want to see the good part. And I'm going to take the upper part and I'm going to insert it inside the skirt like this. And then I'm going to pin the side of the skirt to the side of the dress on both parts. So I'm just going to pin it here. And to pin it here. And now I'm going to find the center of both the skirt and the lower bodice part, and I just put a pin here to mark it, and this is the center of the bodice. So I can pin this part together now. And I'm going to do the same also for the other side. And then we can start to gather the fabric by pulling the thread until the length of the skirt is like the length of the bodice. And as I gather the fabric, I can pin it so they stay in place, and I'm going to do this step for all the length. Okay, now everything is pinned in place, and we can now proceed and sew everything together. And when sewing it, we just want to be sure that we are sewing above the gathering stitches. So to do it, I just move the needle position on the left. So if you can just do it, it's much easier. Otherwise, you just have to add a little bit more seam allowance while sewing it. Now that everything is sewn together, we just want to double check if everything looks good on the outer part too, and in my case it does. So after you checked in, we can just go on and finish the raw edges of the inside of the dress, and then we just need to hem it and we will be done. Okay, so this is my favorite part because it means that we just need to hem the dress and then it will be ready to be worn. And if you want, you can try it on now, so just in case you want to make it maybe a little bit shorter than the standard length. And I'm going to keep mine just this length, and so I'm going to iron the hem and then I'm going to sew it. And that's it, our Matilde dress is finished now, and I find this dress absolutely adorable, and I've been wearing it a lot lately because it's just so comfortable, and when made with natural fabrics it's also so breathable and just perfect for warmer days. So now I will show you how to make the alterations to create the other versions of the dress and the blouse. Turning the dress into a blouse is pretty easy. I simply shortened the skirt by half and follow the same steps of the dress tutorial. Of course, you can adjust the length to be shorter or longer based on your preferences. It's entirely up to you. To create a version of the Matilde dress with a double ruffle skirt, I took the total height of the standard skirt and divided it by 2, and then I added 1 cm to each of these new pieces for the seam allowance. I then modified the length of the second rectangle, which will form the second ruffle, by multiplying the length by 1.5. To create the skirt, simply gather the top edge of the second frill rectangle and attach it to the bottom edge of the first rectangle. Repeat the same process with the other 2 rectangles, and after that you can follow the same steps as for the standard skirt. For this version you will need a little bit more fabric, about 3 meters, and you can arrange the pattern pieces like this for cutting. If you want shorter sleeves, simply reduce the length of your sleeve pattern piece by the desired amount. As a reference, for the red Vichy version of the dress, I shortened mine by 12 cm from the original pattern. So yeah, we are now at the end of this video, and I hope that everything was as clear as possible to you. And I know this video might be a little bit longer than usual, but I really wanted to show you how many possibilities you can have with this dress and how many versions of it you can create with just one pattern. So of course, if you made a Matilde dress or a Matilde blouse, please send me your picture or videos of your creations, because I love to receive them and I find them so inspiring. You can even tag me on Instagram if you prefer. So as always, thank you for staying with me until the end. I hope you had such a beautiful time sewing with me and that you're loving the result. And I hope you are having a beautiful day, and I can't wait to see you into my next video. Bye!